Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest on this very hot day. Shout out to Paul, our fantastic custodian. We need the air conditioning, Paul. He's terrific. Please bring the air conditioning. All right, we don't want dead guests and dead hosts and that type of thing. Bonnie Walker is with us. And Bonnie I read about in the Worcester Business Journal. You had a fantastic article in there, something that hadn't really dawned on probably most of us. In the advertising today, her topic is don't brand your company with whites-only images.
Yes.
Now, you're also the executive director, this is a long one, for Diversity and Inclusion Strategy. Are you over at WPI?
Yes.
You are. Okay,
Yes.
well, how long have you been over there?
I've been at WPI for about 15 years.
Yeah.
I've had different positions there. I've had great opportunity for challenge and growth.
Yeah.
And I would say I started as an admissions professional,
Yeah.
and it's odd to stay, I think, in a university position
Yeah.
for 15 years.
That's a long time.
But I've moved from admissions to enrollment, multicultural affairs, and now working on university strategy.
Now,
So,
where were you before that?
before WPI, I worked for a nonprofit in Worcester, the Bridge of Central Massachusetts.
I think I've had them on over the years. Is that the one that helps the young folks who are having behavioral issues?
Yes, they have group homes.
Okay.
They do other group homes, mental health, folks with mental health
What did you
challenges,
do there?
addiction. I worked in the marketing department, so I was a marketing associate.
I can see you working more with people, not just behind a desk, more with
Yes.
people. She had a great article, and we're going to talk more about it. You also had, in the Worcester Business Journal, there's a column, I've been on it, that it drives you nuts because it goes backwards. The 10 things I know about,
Yes.
but you start with number 10. Did you have trouble thinking how you were going to do that?
I did.
Why is he doing it that way?
I don't know. I think it's maybe just change the frame to make you think about things a little bit differently.
Yeah, but you start saying, well, Jesus, everything is important. Now how do I prioritize what I want them to see? Is number 10 considered the least important? Do you think number 1 was the most important?
I think number 1 is probably the most.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
those of you who have never seen the Worcester Business Journal, you can get it free delivered to you. I get it. I think it's every week, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's terrific. Now, Bonnie, how did you get into this? Do you give speeches and presentations on the images?
So I do give presentations for a number of different reasons and organizations, all tied to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it could include how you brand your product, or how you brand your business or your organization, which would include images for sure.
Yeah, especially now.
Yep.
You know, I think that is so super important. Do you see a lot of inclusion at WPI? I would think you would. I mean, everybody, they're from all over America and from Europe, aren't they,
Yes.
over there?
There are students from all over the world, over 30 countries represented on campus. We have project centers all over the world. We have a global school that is about to take off. Faculty from different places, graduate students. So it is definitely a diverse place. And I think the conversation probably for the past decade has been very pointedly about diversity and how do we bring in diversity, whether it's on the faculty, staff, or the cohort of students that matriculate. But now we're thinking more about inclusion. So once we get all of these different people here,
Yeah.
how do we get everybody to play nice in the sandbox?
Yeah, and the thing is, when they come here, that's great. But the trouble comes when they don't learn English. Or, you know what I'm saying? You'll be in a supermarket and somebody behind you is, I'm thinking, speak that at home. What's the word? Blend. Try to blend in a little bit. That's all we ask. Just sometimes I'm thinking maybe it should be a mandatory 6-month or a year course. Just learn how to speak it free on us, but please learn how to speak. Is that hard over there?
I think most of our students come in with English proficiency, so it's not too much of a challenge in the classroom. It can be a little bit different on the graduate level. But I think we need to build communities where people have safe spaces and they can speak their native tongue and feel like they can bring their whole self and their whole identity to wherever they are. But assimilation is also a real thing
That's
in
the
order
word.
to navigate on some level.
Right.
But it's a reciprocal relationship. I don't think we should say, as America, you have to speak English here. But I do think we need to find a balance and find a way where everybody feels, again, this whole idea of inclusion, everybody feels like this is their place.
It's like if you and I went over to Belgium or Africa, they don't accommodate us. We would, if we're going to live there, we have to learn theirs to survive. So I was just thinking maybe we could help people learn more. I taught years ago, what is that called? English as a Second Language at the Worcester Library.
Yes.
I had a great time. The lady was from Russia, and she said, help me to read more. She could speak a little to me. So what I did is I got some children's books, keep it simple and fun, and I would have her just read the sentence to me and take your time. So I made it fun,
Yeah.
so that she was, okay, she was understanding. Then I said, now tell me what you read,
Yes.
so that she'd learn, more like that.
Yes.
It was very enjoyable.
Yes. I think a challenge with learning a different language is the relational proficiency. So it's one thing to read a textbook, like you said, or to practice amongst people that are there to teach you and help you. But it's another thing to be dropped into the culture and the language and pick up all of those cues
Exactly.
around the language.
Bonnie, when
So-
did you decide to come out with this presentation?
So I actually have a column now in the Worcester Business Journal,
Yeah.
and it's
Okay, what's the title of it now?
the title of it is Thinking Outside of the Box.
Yep.
And with that, I was asked to cover a variety of topics that can help businesses and organizations think more about diversity, equity, inclusion, and their business bottom line.
I love it.
And it's just
Yeah,
something that
yeah.
came up. It was, I think branding and marketing is an important thing for
Right.
any organization.
So, did you present it to the editor, and he said, yes, let's do it?
Yes,
Oh, so he's pretty open, too.
he is. Yes.
That is a really good thing. Do they have those Worcester Business Journals? I know I see them everywhere, but are they available for the students and faculty?
We sort of market them.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about different resources across Worcester, and certainly the business students are probably more privy to what's
Yeah.
what it is available as far as the Worcester Business Journal and how they can engage. But I think what's so great about it is that you can sign up electronically
Yeah.
to get the Worcester Business Journal for free too, and our students are online.
I'd rather hold it in my hand.
I would too, but I think our student generation would
Oh.
rather click, pull it up, scroll.
That's
and
my
look.
son. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I know. My grandfather went to Clark, and many, many, many years later, he was in his 90s, and I was working for a gentleman in his 90s, and I brought the two fellows together. The other gentleman went to WPI, and graduated,
Yes.
and Grandpa went to Clark, so I brought the two gents together.
Yes.
It's where they could visit. It was amazing. Really, what are the odds? We're all on Cape Cod. What are the odds you're going to meet someone?
I know.
They went to at that. Now you're from Hanover, New Hampshire, right?
I am.
Now, is that closer to the White Mountains or down further?
Close, very close to the White Mountains.
Okay, I should know that.
And about an hour and a half from Montreal.
Are you higher up than Plymouth?
Yes.
Now, what brought you down there to here?
Clark University.
Oh,
I
Clark?
went to Clark.
You went to
I
Clark?
did.
Why did you leave?
Well, I went there for school.
What did you major in?
My major was sociology.
Oh,
And I
wow.
got a master's in marketing and communications.
It's a good school.
It's fabulous.
The thing about Clark, when my grandfather graduated in 1908, it's a different neighborhood
Yeah.
outside, and now it's like they've got a beautiful campus, and I hope they can maintain it. I
Yes.
really, really do. WPI is fascinating with their campus.
Yes.
Don't you have like a waterfall or a little lake?
There is, so we have Institute Park across the street, and
Yeah.
we have sort of a community partnership
Yeah.
to support events and things that happen there.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a fountain in the center of our campus,
Yeah.
right outside of our kind of student campus center.
Yeah.
And that was actually a WPI project. So students got
They made
that.
the fountain?
Made the fountain, and of course, physics is involved
Yeah.
as far as the pressure and how high it goes so it doesn't splash people, and the temperature,
How
all
many
of
years
those
ago
things.
did you think that they did that? 10, 15 years ago?
I would say probably more like 20.
Wow, it
15,
shows you I haven't
20.
been there though. I haven't gone by there. I love
Yeah.
Salisbury Street and the
Yes.
antiquarium. Not
Yes.
too far away.
Which was just renovated.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yes.
Okay, we are talking with Bonnie Walker, and Bonnie is the Executive Director for Diversity and Inclusion Strategy. And her theme, her issue is don't brand your company with whites-only images. How apropos. I mean, how long have you been talking about this and getting it out there?
So I think, the specific title or topic is pretty provocative.
Yeah.
And that's because I wanted people to read
Yeah.
the article.
Sure.
But really, it's all about not just white only, but how are you branding your images and marketing to people, whether it's publications, website,
Flyers, things like that.
flyers,
Yep.
even when you walk into an office, what do you see?
Yeah.
To a point where it is representative of a lot of different people, a lot of different races, gender, young, old, so that it's not sort of a one-dimensional organization.
Exactly.
And I think people are emotionally tied to spending money and to the businesses that they engage.
Right.
So if they don't see themselves in the images or see themselves in the business, they're not going to connect.
Another thing with the college brochures, you've hit it right on the line. Are more colleges listening to this and having, how to get the kids interested, they'll have the picture on the front of the
Sure.
brochure. I hope more and more of them are getting into this.
Sure.
That's a really good thing. Where are you appearing? Do you go to different places around here?
I do. I speak for different organizations, and I think my heart is very tied to social justice
Yeah.
and providing access to college and access and education. And I'm very committed to STEM.
Yeah.
I'm a liberal arts baby, went to Clark University, but
Yeah.
I've been working at WPI, and very committed to the idea of engaging and providing access to more underrepresented groups that haven't traditionally been in the STEM field, and that certainly includes women.
Yes. I know
under-
that when I went to Plymouth State, my gosh, of course we weren't even thinking that way back then, but I wouldn't call it diverse back then.
Sure.
I didn't even think about it. We were more worried about the guys are going to maybe go to war, go out to Saudi. What was it, Vietnam and Saudi Arabia? Was it Saudi? Yeah, those two things were really in the back of our minds.
Sure.
We weren't thinking in terms of who's better than who or who's different than who. I remember that very, very well. Now, you grew up in Hanover, and you went to Clark,
Yes.
and you graduated Clark, and then you decided to go to WPI,
Yep.
and they spotted you with your talent, your aims.
Yeah.
They said, let's grab her and have her on board.
Yeah, so I started, again, in admissions as kind of a generalist recruiter.
That's got to be fun, though. But then don't you break their heart if you can't have the kid come in?
It's difficult. It's
Yeah.
difficult, but I also very much believe that there is the right fit for every student. So even if something was very compelling and charismatic about me
Yeah.
in my recruiting of a student,
Yeah.
and I could land them at our school,
Yeah.
it wouldn't make any sense if it's not the right fit for them.
Yeah.
And WPI is such a phenomenal place with so many opportunities and resources that you don't have to engage students that way. We're not in a need to trick students into being there or
Sure.
whatnot. I think it's very self-selecting.
Yeah.
And I think the students that are going to thrive there and be successful and care about project-based learning, care about the world, care about creating an innovation in technology, not just to build the next cell phone, which is fine,
Yeah.
but
We
to
got
really,
enough of those.
but to help humanity. I
Yeah.
think those are the
Yeah.
students that we attract.
You can't be a dummy and go to. Let me tell you, to get into WPI, do you have to have on the SATs straight fours? That's the highest number, right?
So
Or is it still the highest
that's
number?
the SAT 2.
Yeah, the SAT. That was when I took it. Yeah, 4 was really good, and keep going.
Yes, I think we accept 4s and 5s for SAT 2s.
All right. On both the math and English.
I believe any subject test. So
Okay.
SAT 2 or subject tests, I believe we accept 4s and 5s.
Okay.
But we've actually part of this inclusionary environment and thinking more about how are we meeting the needs of applicants and who is looking at us. We've gone away from, the staple is your SAT score, and that's what's going to get you in. I think
That's used to be ours.
at one point that was the case, and now we're looking very much at your curriculum.
Yeah.
What are the classes that you're taking at what level, and how are you doing those classes? And SATs can round that out, but we're SAT optional.
I remember
So-
what you did as an admissions officer. I applied to 3: Plymouth, Westfield, and Keene. But as soon as I saw the Plymouth campus, I'm like, oh,
Yes.
no, I forgot it's like 3 hours from home, and I was very homesick. But I remember going up for the interview, Dad taking me all the way up to Plymouth, waiting outside in the car while I went in to meet, I don't think it was the dean of students, whoever it was.
Sure.
And I figured, yeah, well, this is just the interview. I won't know for probably months. So I said, so what do you think my chances are of getting in? He said, you've been accepted.
Wow.
I told my father, he did not believe me. He said, no, that's not possible. It doesn't happen. I'm like, I know, let's call Mom, but I was so excited.
Yes.
I think this guy was not going on my really not that terrific SAT scores. He was going more on the fact that I wanted to be there. And I think they wanted me on board a lot for that.
I love that WPI, like many institutions now, certainly have a holistic process.
Yeah.
So the interview, your engagement, your curriculum, your essay. Tell us more about yourself and what you do and how your touch point for meeting WPI. So
Yeah.
what are you excited to do? What is your vision? And not just about what is WPI going to do for you. So all of those things, what you do in your community, really round out an application.
Exactly.
So,
How can they reach you? How can they?
yes. So you can email me at bjhall@wpi.edu, or you can give me a call at 508-831-6645.
I had a friend years ago whose son was so far ahead. He used to go to the Whitensville Christian School. I don't know, 15 years old, 14. He skipped the rest of high school and went right over to WPI.
Wow.
How often do you see that?
Not very often.
Yeah.
So did he go to WPI or did he go to the Mass Academy?
WPI.
WPI.
I remember it was WPI.
Early.
This is, oh yeah.
Wow.
He hadn't even graduated. They didn't see the need to. He was so far ahead.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being that far ahead,
Yeah.
in math especially.
Yes.
He must have been brilliant.
I mean, we certainly do see students that come in at 16, 17 and absolutely have, the academic prowess to make that happen and to excel. But you have to think about the whole picture, and that's very much an individual and a family decision.
Yeah, well, WPI is I think it's known for diversity for many, many years. This
Yeah.
is Clark. I think probably all the colleges nowadays, especially here in New England, one thing I've noticed, you talk about diversity, are they going to get rid of the fraternities and sororities eventually? Or are they going downhill, or are they still there?
The fraternities and sororities are still there.
Yeah.
They are still very prominent, and students are still a large population of our students. Probably about 70% are
They are in
engaged.
those?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Many women, as well as men, participate in Greek life.
Yeah.
And I will say it's not the rah-rah Animal House that,
When I went to Plymouth, yeah, that's what it was.
It's not. It's not. There are academic societies and expectations. A lot of them are tied to that
Yeah.
at WPI, and they are phenomenal community partners
Do you
as
ever-
far as charities and giving back and volunteering.
Do you ever go to Holy Cross or other colleges to get your message across? Give a speech, presentation?
I have been invited
Good.
to do
Go
that.
ahead.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been to Clark, and I've sat on panels at Clark, and I have colleagues at College of the Holy Cross, and I'll go there, and they'll engage me in some of the programming that's happening, whether it's around Heritage Months or other things.
And there's always
So-
Boston, tons of colleges up there.
Yes.
But BU and UMass and Dartmouth. UMass is in Amherst. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many.
Yes.
Because spreading your message to them. I keep thinking of the brochures that they would give us kids to look at when we were considering where we wanted to go.
Yes.
Now, Plymouth must have done a heck of a good job because I'm like, oh, their campus is gorgeous. You've seen it,
Yes.
haven't you? I mean, It looks Ivy League. It's not for kids to get straight A's necessarily, but it looks gorgeous.
Yes.
What I didn't figure on was being so far from home, I knew nobody there. Bad move. Should have gone to Westfield, closer to where I grew up.
Yeah,
You live and learn.
sure.
You do. But like when you lived in Hanover, did you mind going down to Clark? Did you live there? Or?
Yes, so yeah, Hanover is about 2.5 hours from Worcester,
Yeah.
from Clark. I was definitely ready.
You were all
to
set.
leave
Did you know
home.
when you left high school what you were going to do?
I knew sort of the realm, so I ended up in sociology. I thought education or psychology, and there's a lot of kind of cross-disciplinary
Yeah.
work there.
So how did WPI find out about you? Did you apply for a job?
I did. Yes, I saw an ad in maybe it was the Telegram, I'm not sure, for an admissions position. And I was just thinking, hey, I grew up on a college campus basically. My father was a faculty member at Dartmouth College in
There you
Hanover,
go.
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I know this.
Yeah.
This is comfortable. Deep-rooted value around education in my family. And I thought, wow, I could work on a college campus. I could use my sociology, how you build communities and work with communities with my marketing degree to market this phenomenal institution
Yeah.
as a recruiter. This is the perfect fit. And, 20-something, you're thinking, wow, I can jet set and on
I
WPI's
guess.
dime and travel all over and talk to students
Where
at
have
a
you
very
traveled?
exciting time in their life. I've been to the U.S. Virgin Islands to recruit,
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, California, Oregon, Washington,
Canada?
Connecticut, not Canada.
Not yet. You'll get there, probably. Oh my! You've been all over the
I
world.
have.
So they fly you to these places,
Yep.
and you go to the specific colleges. How do you recruit?
So you typically go to high schools and you talk to guidance counselors or school counselors, and you meet with students, and you can host information sessions at schools, at hotels during lunch hours, and you really get your word across about the institution. And you can do. Oftentimes we would do interviews, often informational interviews or individual interviews with students that are interested, and that goes into their file as
Into
part of
coming
their
to
application.
WPI.
Yes.
How that is, boy, they found a jewel in the crown. So you were doing that, but you're doing that now too.
I'm not doing that
Do you
now.
miss it?
I do.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
love what I'm doing now. But I do miss that high touch interaction with students. In both of my former positions at the institution, I was much more high touch with students.
You were, yeah.
And
I can
it's-
see you, yeah.
It's exciting to recruit students. It's an exciting time in their life. It's kind of a transformative time. And I like to mentor and engage in that way, so I miss it. And then when I was the director of the Office of Multicultural Affairs, students are in your office all the time. You're
Yeah.
doing programs for them. You're doing workshops for them. You're talking to them about life and just kind of general.
And there are different cultures coming.
All
What would
over.
you suggest, Bonnie, to colleges and companies to get the message out that they're very diverse? Right in their literature or right online on their website? How would you say
I
it?
think all of the above.
Yeah.
I think when you're out on the road, admissions officers needs to be part of the information that they share.
Sure.
I think brochures, I think online, all of those things.
Do you ever have students come in and they feel, which they shouldn't, self-conscious that maybe they're from a foreign country or this type of thing, and they think, well, she'll never accept me, or they'll never. Do you ever see that happen and try to say, don't worry about it,
Yeah, I can't tie it specifically to a country or a demographic, but I know students carry that.
Scared.
But like a lot of us in different realms, am I good enough?
Yeah.
Am I going to be successful here? And, do I have what everybody else is bringing to the table? And we have pre-orientation programs. We have summer programs. So if they wanted to come and step camp, on campus before applying to WPI, we have visits. So even before they submit an application, they can come for an information session anytime.
Tell me about this camp. Is this for everybody?
So there are K through 12 outreach camps that are
Okay.
run by Sue Sontgarath at WPI. She's a
Yeah.
WPI alumni.
The students, alumni run the camp for the. Do they live
Not
right
the
there?
student alumni, but Sue, the director of the K
She
through 12,
runs
went to WPI
And she runs the
when
camp.
there were very few women at WPI, and she oversees the whole outreach program.
So do the kids get to live in a dorm all summer?
So it's not the whole summer, but there are several weeks. There's high school outreach, there's middle school outreach. We have sports camps, all different kinds of camps, academic and
Science,
co-curricular.
Science, like for the kids that
Science, engineering, math. Yes.
So it's K through 12.
Yes.
I was just thinking, my son's in his 20s. I'm thinking he might enjoy it because he's got that scientific outlook. I am amazed. You started off with admissions, and you just worked your way up. They saw she's great with the kids. She's great with the people. Now, in marketing, right? That's what you're doing more now, right?
I do some of the marketing and branding. It's part of the strategy.
But you're getting out there, right?
Yes.
And I can't see
trying to get away from the desk.
Yeah, I can't see you stranded. You're like me. Don't put me behind the desk as a steady thing, 8 to 5 every day.
Sure.
Where have you been speaking? Where are some of the places you've gone?
So I would say most recently I've been just working with colleagues at other colleges more locally in the Worcester area and talking to
the high school,
a smaller cohort of students that they're supporting in college. So it's more professional development for students and mentorship.
High schools,
and things like that. High school, college.
High school and college. We got about 2 minutes left. Again, Bonnie, how can they reach you?
Yes, you can email me at bjhall@wpi.edu. You can call me directly in the office at 508-831-6645.
And we've been talking with Bonnie Walker, and she is the Executive Director for Diversity and Inclusion Strategy over at WPI. And her shtick, which is terrific, don't brand your company with whites-only images. Get everyone in there. You know, even if it's whatever, just put it in there so it looks like we're sending the message, we welcome everybody.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I think this is great. Thank you for being with us, Bonnie.
Thank you. It's a
Good
pleasure.
luck. I know she's terrific with it. I could just see coming to you and going like this. I hope I'm going to be admitted. I think you would level with me for sure. Like, okay, well, you might, like he did. The admissions director said, you're not going to do well in college math. But they still accepted me. I think he was hoping that I'd be able to raise the grade level up in the math. I had to go to summer school to bring it up.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea it was that intense.
I passed out of college math, which when I got it back, my parents looked at the thing and said they must have mixed up the people.
What did you passed out? What did you say?
So we have baseline, baseline general requirements across institutions, and one of them is like a math. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was pre-calculus or something like that. And I passed out of it in the.
What's that mean? Passed out of it?
So I didn't have to take math. I didn't have to take baseline math at Clark because I took a test before to see where you place, and I placed out of it.
I majored in, started off as a lot of girls
It was
did.
general college math.
Elementary education. But then I saw my roommate, she was doing art. I said, that's it, I'm switching. That looks like fun.
Yes.
So it's basically liberal arts. But I had to take math and philosophy and history and
Yeah.
Talk to her. She's got a lot of good things. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time. We'll be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream.